Welcome to Exception Seekers, the show where we challenge conventional views on youth mental health and explore stories and experiences that offer alternative perspectives.
I am your host, Colleen McLean from Sound Youth Counseling, and today I am joined by Amanda Lamb, who is a relational psychotherapist working as the director of the Center for Family Initiatives with Pine River Institute. Amanda joins me today to talk about her journey into what she's doing and some of the work that's happening through Pine River. Thanks for joining and sharing your time with us. Hope you enjoy.
Being a young person can be tough. Raising a young person can be tough. Whether it's school stress, family dynamics, or navigating challenging emotions, everyone needs the right support. That's where Sound Youth Counseling comes in. We specialize in helping children ages 4 and up through individual, parent, and family counseling tailored to meet each person's unique needs. From tackling tough issues at home or school to providing customized workshops and professional development for teachers and community leaders, we're here to make a difference. At Sound Youth Counseling, we believe young people deserve a safe, welcoming, and accepting space to grow and thrive, and every family deserves the tools to support them. If you're looking for support, visit soundyouthcounseling.ca and see how we can help. Sound Youth Counseling, empowering individuals, supporting families, and building stronger communities.
Amanda, thank you. I have been really looking forward to talking with you more. Like our paths have crossed in short snippets. And so this will be really nice to actually have a chance to talk.
I agree. I was very excited that you asked me to come on your podcast and that we would get to have a little bit more of a deep dive conversation. So thank you so much for having me on.
Well, yeah, I know, we'll talk a little bit kind of about you, also what you're doing with Pine River,
Mhm.
and some of the work there. So maybe I was thinking to start for those who aren't familiar with Pine River Institute, maybe you could tell us just a little bit about what it is and your role with them.
Yeah, so Pine River Institute is a in-person treatment center. So it used to be called residential treatment, and now the language has shifted, obviously, to in-person treatment center. And we work with a demographic of adolescents, so 13 to 19-year-olds, who are struggling with all sorts of behaviors and mental health challenges. We are funded through the ministry, which means that people who find their way to Pine River are covered under OHIP
Mm.
for treatment, so long as they're an Ontario resident.
Mhm.
We currently have 59 ministry funded beds and a few private beds as well. And our program is really long, like it's an intensive, not your first intervention. Like
Okay.
kids come to us after they've, gone to therapy or been to the hospital or had different interventions and are
Hmm.
often deemed treatment resistant.
Okay.
So, often when families find us and families can self-refer or they can get a referral through a practitioner, when they find us, they're pretty desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in crisis, um, whether it's like a substance use or a tech addiction or self-harming behavior, really serious, like highly acute cases.
Hmm.
Or even if there's not necessarily a behavior attached to it, there can be really severe depression or anxiety,
Okay.
things like OCD. So a
Mhm.
whole gauntlet of reasons why kids might come to Pine River. And I think the thing that makes Pine River really different and also really exceptional is that we're not just a, hey, fix my kid treatment center.
Mhm.
We do a lot of intensive family therapy as well. And we also have a research department that's built in that looks at why doing family work is so important when you're working, I think personally with anybody, but
Mhm.
especially with
Mhm.
youth who are still at
Mhm.
home and are still really relying on their family systems.
Mhm.
To say, this isn't about a kid being broken. This is about something that's contextual and it's bigger than just, this 14-year-old or this 15-year-old.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That that is really, I think that's unique. from other programs that I've heard of. And yes, I think that is exceptional because I think so many by the time you're going to an inpatient longer term program, yeah, you've
Hmm.
probably tried a lot of things before. And
Hmm.
that idea of I'll go away, try to work on something, or, please take my teen and work on them with something, and then just have them come back
Yeah.
without anything at home changing uh,
Hmm.
yeah, it doesn't address sort of, as you said, that bigger context of the family or the system that they're in. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I kind of think of it like learning a language. Like if you put your kid in French immersion and they're
Hmm.
learning French all day at school, but then they come home and you only are speaking English or another language,
Hmm.
they're not going to pick up those skills, or they'll pick them up, but then they'll fall off at home.
Hmm.
And you're not able to communicate with your kids. So it's not even like we're saying,
Right.
hey, parents are the problem, you have to be in therapy. It's like there's a common therapeutic language, there's different ways of emoting and of communicating. And if
Yes.
you're not learning them, then you're going to be, sorry, my dog's growling. You're
No.
gonna be, he agrees. You're going to be, you're not going to be on the same level, right?
Right. Right.
Um, and I do hear that a lot of places, there goes my dog, that a lot of places don't work with families.
Hmm.
Even
Hmm.
when families are saying, we want to be involved, right? We want to know
Right.
what's going on
Right.
because of this piece around autonomy. And I could talk about autonomy all
Right.
day,
Right. Right.
but I
And
don't know if we want to go
well,
there.
we can go into all kinds of pieces. I just, as you say, families that want to be involved, what do you do for the families who don't want to be involved?
Yeah, so
Because I imagine that's a piece too.
it's a huge piece. Yeah. And so Pine River has been around for 20 years. This, I think, is our 20-year anniversary, actually. And
Wow.
when we first started, we weren't a family program.
Mm.
And we had a clinical director, Dr. Victoria Crichton, who's like my mentor,
Hmm.
come and say, this is great, but you're missing this huge piece, and we need to start
Hmm.
incorporating family work. And
Hmm.
initially, there's this huge hesitation, like it's not going to work, and confidentiality, and parents have too much to do. And when
Yes.
you set that as the expectation for parents, in the same
Hmm.
way that you're setting the expectation for the kid, over time, the culture changes at Pine River,
Hmm.
and then everyone's like, no, this is just what we do here. This is our status quo and our normal, right?
Right.
And so it does take a bit of consistency. Like
Hmm.
all the skills we're teaching with kids, it's like consistency and,
Hmm.
helping parents regulate their feelings around being involved, because sometimes there's shame. Usually it's
Sure.
shame.
Yes, parents would bring so many of their own pieces.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
saying, we can tolerate the distress of this. And it's actually really important to tolerate your parents' distress,
Hmm.
because that's one of the skills we're trying to teach parents, is how to sit in emotional instability,
Yes.
um, and be the grounded person for your kid.
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's hugely important. But yeah, we
Hmm.
do have parents come in, but because they're in that place of desperation saying, I will do absolutely anything to help my kid. And
Hmm.
we say, well, you don't have to do anything. You just have to come to therapy.
Right.
And they'll say,
Yes.
oh, are you taking limbs instead? Like I'd rather
Yeah.
do a limb sometimes, but um, with enough work individually and also in family groups, this can be a
Hmm.
big transformational piece. To
Hmm.
come and see other families and meet them and hear their stories,
Hmm.
and realize, wow, like we're all kind of just navigating this together. And if I can look across the room and see someone who I identify with, it actually
Yes.
helps me feel safer to share my story. Um,
Yes.
you know, yeah,
Yes. Yeah, that idea of we do so much for our kids, but this is also our first time parenting
yes,
and figuring that out or parenting that one child. And this idea that we should know everything is not
yes.
helping parents.
It's not helping. And there's
No.
so much information, right,
Mhm.
online about, oh, do it this way, be a helicopter parent or be a tiger parent or whatever,
Oh
flavor
yeah, and it
you
all
want.
conflicts.
It
And
all conflicts. Yes.
yes, yes. How do you figure? Yes, how do you sort it all out?
Yes.
Yes,
And then you have your parents who are like, I didn't do that with you and you turned out fine. And you're
right.
thinking, well, I'm in
Yes.
therapy, we should sort of that. I'm fine. But maybe that's just me.
So um how did you find your way into this program? Because I imagine Pine River in its uniqueness of, this is just what we do,
Mhm.
also then would attract certain people into it who,
Mhm.
would buy into that and be a part of that. What was your journey to Pine River?
Yeah, so I'll just say the other piece of Pine River, I think the piece that really attracted me was
Mm.
that we start with a wilderness component.
Oh,
And
yes. Hmm.
so kids, when they first come in, I just call them kids. Kids, when they come in, before they come to our campus, which is in Mulmer, they spend a minimum of 6 weeks out in Algonquin Park. And this is where they get a chance to, withdraw from life, as I call it.
Hmm.
There's no cell phones. There's no, like, you're out in the bush and you're building fires and you're setting up tents.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult, but it's
Hmm.
really rewarding.
Hmm.
And so I think that's how I found my way to Pine River.
Hmm.
So I always knew that I wanted to be in therapy. I went after high school, I did psychology
Hmm.
as my undergrad. I traveled quite a bit. And then when I came back, I was kind of in this limbo of place of like, I don't know what I want to do, and I don't know where I want to end up. And I had a kind of a period of what I would call depression in my early
Hmm.
20s. And I ended up going back to school for child and youth work because I
Okay.
knew that I had my own history with my family, that I really
Hmm.
wanted to work with younger people. And through that experience with Humber, through that experience, I ended up going and working at a place called Boundless Adventures,
Oh, yeah.
which is a wilderness, it's now a school. And
Hmm.
we were taking, you know, at-risk youth on whitewater canoe trips for two
Hmm.
weeks at a time. And it was the best experience of my life.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
being
Okay.
outside with kids who are struggling, it really changes how they look at the world and how they look at life and what is
Hmm.
really a problem for them.
Hmm.
Like, and you take away a
Hmm.
kid's phone and it's like, oh, the problem now is that I need to collect enough firewood to
Yep.
build fire to have food.
Yep.
It makes it really tangible and real,
Hmm.
and people grow phenomenally when they're in the wilderness.
Hmm.
So I went from being out in the woods, kind of paddling down the Des River,
Hmm.
to the week after working in a psychiatric unit in a hospital in
Wow,
Toronto.
that's quite the transition. Yeah.
It was a really big juxtaposition.
Yes.
And so had an opportunity to really look at these two milieus, right? Like outside, no real structure, just
Hmm.
like let's stay alive and be fed,
Yes.
to being in an locked inpatient unit with 8 beds and
Right.
security. And I was like, I don't know how people get better in hospitals. Like,
Mm.
it doesn't make sense to me. And I
Right.
know clinically this is really, like there's lots of evidence that this is working, but internally I was like, I need to work outside.
Mm.
I want to be outside.
Okay.
And I found Pine River.
Yes. It sounds like that Whitewater, like with Boundless, it was transformational for the young people you were with, but you as well.
Oh
Of
yeah, absolutely.
yes. Yeah.
Absolutely transformational.
Yes.
Yeah, and really kind of set my compass around like this is the work you want to do. You want to
Mm.
be in nature, but also working with people. And that's,
Hmm.
skill set is kind of hard to find.
Yes.
So, yeah. And then I found
Okay.
Pine River back in 2011, and I've been there ever since.
And so did you start working in their backcountry component part
I
program first?
I did, yeah. So I started kind of as a bottom rung person as like a relief worker for what
Okay.
we call the OLE, the outdoor leadership experience,
Yes.
taking kids out into Algonquin. The kids stay out there.
Yeah.
The staff team will rotate every 8 days. And so you go and you spend kind of 7 days in the middle of nowhere with
Yeah.
some kids who are coming off drugs and screens.
Yes.
Um, and it was amazing, right? It was amazing. And I made really great connections. It's again, even in 7 days, you can build such an
Hmm.
alliance with
Hmm.
the kids you're traveling with because you all rely on each other
Hmm.
to keep each other warm and fed and safe. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, it's really it I see the increase in self-esteem and confidence in kids, even in a week's time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so you were in the wilderness with their program,
Yeah.
and you are now with their research team or
No,
their instructional team,
so
educational
now
team,
now I work with the educational. So now I
education.
actually
Yes.
so fast forward, I know it's
Yeah.
been, 15 years, right?
Yeah,
So
which is remarkable. That's a long time.
it's a long
That's a mar
time.
yes.
It's a
Yeah.
long time.
I feel like that really speaks to the culture of where you are if people stay that long.
Absolutely. It's a big cultural piece and also for me, opportunity to grow.
Mm,
If I was still in the wilderness 15 years
right.
later, I would probably have itchy feet and want to get out. But
Yes.
I had opportunities to grow. And so I went from being in the wilderness to being on our campus program,
Yes.
overseeing a team of 10 adolescent girls, which I thought was going to
Cool.
be a nightmare. And actually and helped me a lot as well. And then did some supervision,
Hmm.
and then went and did aftercare. So the kids that leave Pine River, helping them
Okay.
reintegrate back into their family, into their home life,
Hmm.
doing more kind of family work. And then through that, hearing from a lot of families, like Pine River has saved our lives. The only thing that we wish is that we had found you sooner,
Mm,
right? And not needed to get to a place of crisis to learn the
yes.
things that we learned.
Right.
And taking that information back to leadership, kind of saying, maybe there's a place here for some more early intervention, more
Yes.
preventative work that Pine River can be doing. Still going to keep those 60 beds on campus for the acute kids.
Hmm.
But what if we started working with school boards, right? What if we started working with other clinicians to say, hey, we think we
Yes.
have, a model here or a recipe for success, and we want to teach you so that kids don't end up needing Pine River,
Yes. Yes.
right? Um, because we have a huge wait list and it's
Hmm.
very expensive to keep kids in care. Kids are with us for about 18 months.
Wow.
So we want to make sure that, if we're reaching kids when they're in grade 5 and 6 and helping
Yeah.
parents learn about mental health then, that maybe
Yes.
they won't get to the place of needing Pine River.
Yes. Well, I
Hmm.
love that. There's so little that is prevention or education. Yeah, I think one of my frustrations or one of the things I struggle with what I do is, and I love it, but it's so reactive. By the time
Yes.
you're coming to see a counselor, something has happened. Um,
Yes.
and there's a place for that, yeah, for sure. But yes, what else can we do ahead of time to equip people? Yes.
Yes. And I think prevention is far more, like if we're talking just purely economical,
Oh.
prevention is much more cost effective than
Hmm.
this reactionary medicine.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but it's harder to research the effectiveness, right? So it's harder to say it's evidence-based, which means that's where the
Yes.
funding dollars go. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, harder to show a need in some ways. People, yes, people who determine funding can see a problem, but
Yes,
the
absolutely.
things that might mean we don't end up with problems are harder to see.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're a very reactive society, I would say,
Mm,
generally.
there can be that too. Yes.
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 Again, that's a whole
Yes.
other podcast, but
Yeah. We'll fix the system on the
yeah,
next one.
we're working on it. Yeah.
Okay, so you are now in this instructional education prevention perspective within Pine River. And I know you said, you feel like Pine River, have this framework or different ways of seeing things. What would you say that approach is grounded in?
Yeah, so the approach, I mean, it comes from Dr. John McKinnon. We use what's he referred to as the maturity model. And I've kind of adapted that a little bit. We've adapted that over the years to call it a social developmental model.
Mm-hmm.
So really it's about understanding that children and adolescents are not just little adults,
Mm-hmm.
and that there is a trajectory of growth and
Mm-hmm.
maturity and
Mm-hmm.
development that impacts their emotions and how they interact with other people, all of these kind of milestones. Um, but we don't really talk about those. We don't, parents certainly don't know about them. Pediatricians
No.
don't
No,
know
I feel like
about
we get
them.
the more physical gross motor milestones, or I'm thinking of those, checkups you'd go to at 18 months or whenever they were, right? Like how many words can they stack blocks? Like,
Absolutely.
are they
Absolutely.
sitting up or crawling or all those pieces? But that's sort of where it stops.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
I see this model, and I can reference the books for you as well,
Hmm.
as really complementing the like kind of the same thing, but the way that we learn how to manage anxiety, right? That's a
Mm,
learned skill.
yes.
And it helps just like the behavior, just like the milestones when it comes to motor development,
Hmm.
it really helps to set parental expectations around what is my kid supposed to be, quotation
Mm,
marks, capable
hmm.
of?
Hmm.
How can I help them develop? And then when do we see this as being, underdeveloped or there's a problem and I need to go back to my doctor,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And that piece in there of, so there's a piece where on this developmental trajectory, parents have a role to help. Because I think so
Absolutely.
often things like emotion regulation or any, how to manage anxiety, I think there's this sense of like, well, we all just figure it out.
Yes, because that's
Yeah.
what we did, right?
Yes.
Growing up in the 80s and 90s.
It was we certainly weren't talking about things the way people talk about them now.
No, we
No,
weren't. No,
no.
we weren't. Yeah. And so I think of it, it's kind of like emotional tummy time, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So again, you go to your pediatrician, you have a child, you adopt a child, you go to your pediatrician, and they
Hmm.
say, here's motor development, here's what it's going to look like, here's what you can expect.
Hmm.
Here's how you can help your child with their strength. Put them on their tummy
Yes.
for this much time a day. I can't remember. It's been a while since I had infants.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but there is a time. Yes.
There's a time frame.
Yep.
And also your kids aren't going to like it, just so you know, right? Your
Right.
baby's not going to love tummy time, but
Yes.
because someone has told you that's okay, you're helping
Hmm.
them grow. We tolerate the anxiety of our babies being fussy on their tummies, right? And we
Yes.
go, you can do it, right?
Yes.
Your kid's so
Yes.
strong. If no
Yes.
one had told us to put their kids on their tummies, we wouldn't do it because it looks like they're really uncomfortable and we would probably just scoop them up and be like, oh, I'm so sorry I did that. And then they'd have floppy necks until they're 8 months old, right?
Yes.
So this
Wow.
is the kind of metaphor, I love metaphors around
Yes.
what we should be doing with our kids while they're developing their maturity socially,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows the whole way through. There's going
Mm-hmm.
to be times of distress, and we grow in distress, and that is healthy discomfort,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Oh,
Hmm.
I feel like these need to be like a billboard somewhere or something, of just even
Yes.
like you think of the number of times that well-intentioned with parents
Yeah.
of, accommodating their child's anxiety because it's like really upsetting to see
Yeah.
your kiddo upset. And especially if you feel like you're the cause of it,
Absolutely.
it's like I would rather just not do that so that they're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, within a framework of this is actually supposed to happen,
Hmm.
can give a little more backing or confidence or reassurance to say,
Hmm.
okay, someone has said this is important, so I need to do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's about panning out, right? And recognizing what is the big picture here. Yes, in
Yeah.
this moment, we're frustrated. There's distress.
Hmm.
I've taken the screen away. That's a big one, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I want to soothe this anxiety in the
Hmm.
moment. But if I can pan out as the adult and see this is building distress tolerance,
Yes.
I am creating more appetite for being able to navigate anxiety, boredom, all these things,
Hmm.
right? And recognize that's actually what I'm trying to do, not moment to moment. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay,
Moment to moment. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so give us a little bit of this framework.
Okay.
What are we, when you look at the model and you're thinking of these things, you mentioned managing anxiety.
Yeah.
What are, from a developmental lens, then, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so there's sort of six facets
Okay.
of, and I would call them like six milestones. And maybe just
Yeah.
for the sake of time, I'll
Hmm.
just focus on the anxiety one
Sure. Yes.
because they're all interrelated.
Yep.
But
And we can share this
great.
with our
That's
notes
great.
and things. Yes.
And if you want to know more about this, then you can come and do one of our sessions or our webinars.
Hmm.
But for the sake of managing anxiety, so this is what Dr. McKinnon would call your ability for ego strength, right? And that's to
Okay.
manage, to learn who you are, but also to be able to manage anxiety and solve problems.
Okay.
Now, just like a milestone with motor development, there's stages that we go
Yes.
through, right?
Yep.
It's very flexible, so not everybody's going to learn to walk at 12 months. Some
Okay.
take
Yes.
longer, some take less. So there's a range of normal.
Hmm.
But similarly, like, if your 3-year-old is not walking, that's not, again, quote unquote, normal. And that's when
Yes.
you know, okay, there's something happening, there's something getting in the way. I need more support,
Okay.
right? And I go back to my
Yes.
practitioner and they
Yep.
help.
And these milestones like range for achieving or range for ability to do it, but also they're sequential.
They're sequential. Yeah, so they're in order.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, like the analogy, just because your baby takes a couple steps, the next day they're not going to run a marathon, right? They
Right.
might crawl. Again,
Hmm.
it's a little
Hmm.
bit of back and forth regression. When
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
tired, when we're frustrated, it's like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Um, and it's about setting kids up for success around what we know that they are capable of.
Okay.
Okay. So infants,
Hmm.
that's our starting place. How do infants manage anxiety? Infants can't really do anything, right?
Right.
For
Okay.
themselves, right?
Yes.
They really need someone else to come and take care of their needs, change their diaper, feed
Yeah.
them. How do infants alert the someone else that there's a problem?
Right.
How would you?
Cry.
They
Hmm.
cry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They cry. So we've evolved this amazing mechanism for a little infant that can't really communicate verbally to
Mm.
say, hey, mom and dad, or whomever,
Yes.
I have a problem and I need you to come figure out what it is.
Right.
Now, the infant doesn't say, I have a wet diaper or I am hungry. They
Right.
just,
No, just
blah,
cry and figure it out.
right? They
Yes.
cry.
Yes.
And the caregiver, hopefully, is regulated enough
Hmm.
for themselves that they can see that crying infant not as an annoyance, a disturbance, a
Yes.
problem,
Yeah.
but as, oh my gosh, something's happening and I need to figure it out.
Yes.
But if the parent hasn't slept, hasn't
Hmm.
eaten,
Hmm.
isn't being taken care of, works overtime, whatever,
Hmm.
they're less capable of showing up for that child in a way that is going to be attuned, right?
Hmm.
So they might be
Hmm.
like, this is so frustrating, or oh my gosh, stop crying, even for the
Hmm.
little helpless infant.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. You're saying that. I'm like, I had a baby that cried
I've
a
been
lot.
there.
It was
Yep.
really hard. Yes.
It was really hard.
It was
And
really
again,
hard.
nobody's telling you this is what they need in that moment, right?
Hmm.
Because we've lost that kind of leadership or mentorship when it comes to parenting.
Hmm.
So kids are crying, and again, hopefully the parents are regulated,
Yep.
and on a good day, they lend their regulation skills to their
Hmm.
infant. They say, it's okay, baby, I got you. I don't know
Yes.
what's wrong. I'm going to figure it out.
Hmm.
We're going to use trial and error. I'm going to check
Hmm.
your diaper. I'm going to try and give you a bottle. And
Hmm.
eventually, I'm going to figure out what it is you need. And I'm going to soothe you
Yep.
so that you stop crying.
Yes.
If a parent came into a room and said, baby, stop crying, I don't
Hmm.
like that behavior.
Hmm.
I don't like that behavior. Stop it. The baby is going to probably cry louder, right? They're going
Yes.
to amplify because they're like, you don't understand what's happening. I need your help.
Yes.
So this is what I want parents of
Hmm.
teenagers to really remember, right? And we'll get
Okay.
there in a second.
Hmm.
So when we transition to toddler age,
Hmm.
we are more mobile, right? We're running around, we're doing all these things, we're exploring the world, and we're not crying as much because we've learned a few words and maybe we can start asking for some things.
Yeah.
But in our culture where we don't do a lot of co-sleeping, or it's not as
Yeah.
recommended as other cultures,
Yep.
there's a period of time where we leave our toddlers alone in a dark room, right?
Yes. Yep.
Overnight.
Yep.
And that can be very anxiety provoking for a small individual who's like, I'm defenseless, and now you're putting me in a dark room.
Yep.
And so we give our kids these objects
Mm.
to
Mm-hmm.
say, it's okay, here's your stuffy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's your blankie, here's your soother. We call
Yep.
these transitional objects.
Okay.
And we give these to kids almost for them to grasp onto as a
Yes.
way to say, this thing is going to help keep me safe when my parent is not available to keep me safe overnight.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll know if you've ever had a toddler that if you lose that
Oh,
transitional object,
oh, yes. No. No. Even from experience, if you were to buy an identical backup,
yes,
it still does not qualify as that original item.
it does
Yes.
not, right?
No,
And so
somehow.
no amount of saying, why don't you just take this one overnight? It's like, that's not the right one, right?
Yes. No.
I need that object
Hmm.
that helps me stay safe and feel contained. And that thing external to me is
Mm.
what's actually helping me manage my anxiety. And
Okay.
you'll know that by taking it away and seeing the anxiety really come out, right? A
Yes.
little social
Okay.
experiment. Maybe don't try it at home because it create distress.
Right.
But
Okay.
again, this object is external to a kid.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
not something that I have internalized, right?
So it's this sense of something else outside of me can help. Is that
Yes.
what this? Yes.
Yes. Now, during COVID, just a
Mm.
little segue,
Hmm.
when the anxiety was high, adults couldn't go to the gym, they couldn't visit relatives, they couldn't
Hmm.
see their friends, but we could go to the LCBO and we could go to
Mm.
the dispensary and we could purchase as much
Yes.
external anxiety calming
Support. Yes.
support as we
Yep.
wanted, right? And
Yes.
so from a cultural perspective,
Yep.
I think we're kind of in toddler, right? We
Mm.
still are
Interesting.
really looking for
Hmm.
externalized things
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
soothe our anxiety. Right now for kids, it's their phones, right? You take the phone
Right.
away. Oh my gosh,
Mm.
what have you done? I need that
Hmm.
phone, right? I'm going to freak out.
Yes. And so is this for some adults or some teens a regression, or we just it's like we can slip back and forth, like we've for some adults like we've reached our milestone of eventual managing anxiety, but we've kind of moved backwards at moments, or
I
this
would
is that where
say
this comes from?
Yes, I would say both can be true that maybe we have matured fully and there are moments of high stress where we slip backwards and regress.
Hmm.
I would say what we're seeing more often with young people and even adults is
Hmm.
that they've never learned to fully walk. They've never actually
Okay.
learned how to fully integrate the regulation
Okay.
of their anxiety because
Yes.
culturally that's not an expectation that we've ever had.
Hmm. Interesting.
Mhm.
So, okay. So this toddler period would be around what ages?
So I would say like learning to walk
Okay.
to going to
Yes.
school for the
Okay.
first time. So
Yes.
kindergarten,
Okay.
because there's two more. There's two more
Okay.
stages.
Yep.
Okay. So school age, again, grades or JK to whatever, adolescence,
Hmm.
we are going to school and we're not allowed to take our transitional objects to school, right? Which is
Right.
a little bit of a hard thing in kindergarten, but then we get
Yes, we're leaving them behind.
We're leaving them behind,
Yep.
leaving them at home, and we're tolerating the distress of sitting through school all day without our soother
Hmm.
or our stuffy or whatever.
Hmm.
And we are in a room full of other people our age, and we're playing with them. And we are learning how do I manage anxiety with other kids at the same age frame as mine while I'm playing. So
Hmm.
things like learning to wait your turn to speak,
Yes.
right? To
Yes.
sit on a carpet, to share
Hmm.
toys. All of these kind of skills that we're learning in kindergarten are so important for anxiety, waiting in line, right? All of these things that we learn
Hmm.
in the context of relationship to other people,
Hmm.
which is,
That's
yeah,
sorry. That's interesting too. Just this idea of that being anxiety. Like because
yeah,
I'm just thinking the framing of it. The turn, waiting your turn or sharing.
hmm
I would think, well, we're learning patience or we're
yeah,
learning how to manage being impatient.
yeah,
But then I think of, what is the like bodily sensation that I'm feeling?
hmm
And it's like, oh yeah, anxiety fits.
yeah. Yeah.
But it's just interesting, as you say, anxiety, that wouldn't necessarily be what an emotion I would be like putting with all of this. Hmm.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of parents think that either, or even kindergarten teachers, right? They're like, it's
Hmm.
manners, it's
Yes.
patience, right? It's social
Yes.
conduct or whatever. But
Yes.
those aren't feelings, right? The
No.
feeling is discomfort and anxiety.
Yes.
And you'll see that because when kids are struggling and they will, because this is a long process, they
Hmm.
have freakouts, right? They get really dysregulated,
Yes.
and that can look in any number of ways.
Yes.
And this is why kindergarten teachers are so valuable because
Yes.
they're on the
Yes.
front lines of
Shout out
helping
to
our,
kindergarten teachers. My goodness.
yes, big shout out to
Yes.
kindergarten teachers.
Yeah.
And also, we went through a period not so long ago where kids were not going to school and
Hmm.
interacting with their peers and learning these skills. They were staying home.
Hmm.
And that really important formative time of I'm going to learn everything I need to learn off a screen.
Hmm.
Right? And now I'm having trouble going to school. Right now,
Hmm.
I go to school and I'm like, oh, I don't like this. And
Hmm.
school avoidance is skyrocketing across this province and this country.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the delays of a lot of that, I think there's a sense of, well, COVID is over. It was years ago, although it seems
Yeah.
like yesterday too. But there are delays that are still existing that I think
Yes.
we need to recognize. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think, from an education perspective, it's much easier to track, academic delays through a
Hmm.
standardized test than it
Hmm.
is to say like, well, where's everyone's anxiety
Yes.
meter at,
Yes.
right? That's a lot
Yep.
more
Yep.
work.
Yes.
So all three of these stages, infant, toddler, and school age, there's this increasing ability for the child to learn anxiety management.
Hmm.
And all three of those phases rely on an adult,
Hmm.
whether it's a parent, a kindergarten teacher,
Yep.
who is modeling regulation. And that's
Yep.
what we know of as co-regulation.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
infants, lots of co-regulation, toddler, slightly less, school-age child is
Hmm.
probably slightly less, right? And we're like
Yep.
building the scaffolding.
Yes.
But when we are involved in again, a culture or a society that's highly stressed, where we don't
Hmm.
have an example of a co-regulated adult,
Yep.
and again, we're not learning, we're not able to learn those skills.
Yes. Yes.
The goal is that by the time we hit adolescence, and remember, for us, again, culturally, adolescence we think of as 13 to 18, but neuroscientists will tell us, well, adolescents really go up into 25 and 30 because of brain development. So
Hmm.
much longer than we think.
Hmm.
That's where we want to start having more emotional regulation. So I can feel my feelings. I
Yep.
can name my feelings.
Yeah.
I can tolerate feeling them without rushing to like, where's the object that's going to take this away?
Yes.
Right? Drugs,
Yes.
alcohol, phones, other people, whatever.
Yes.
Um, and I can work to help solve my own problems. So I'm moving away from needing co-regulation as much as being more self-regulated,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Of course, even as adults, if a really big thing happens, like a big loss or whatever, you're going
Yes.
to need people around you to help manage that anxiety because it's too big.
Yes.
Um, but adolescents, again, we're spending more time on screens. They have a lot more
Hmm.
virtual friends as opposed to real in-person people
Yep.
with nervous systems, right?
Hmm.
And they're moving away from needing their families as much, which is
Hmm.
normal and important, but not having that substitute co-regulating person.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So if we have an adolescent, maybe we live with one, work with one, teach one, um, who really struggles with their ability to manage their anxiety.
Hmm.
What do we like? What would we do? Or we see one who, immediately goes to their phone, let's say,
Hmm.
if they're upset, or um, what would we do about that?
There's lots of things that we can do,
Mhm.
fortunately. And I think the first thing is that we want to see age as just a number.
Mm.
Right? And so even though I'm looking at a 16-year-old or an
Mhm.
18-year-old, in my head, I might have a conception of like, well, you should be able to da 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 da.
Yes.
and actually looking at who that person is and say, what are your behaviors and your actions showing me you're capable of? And then on this scale, where am I going to kind of, put you in my mind?
Hmm.
Are you
Hmm.
operating from an infant perspective, a toddler perspective,
Hmm.
a school age perspective? Again,
Yes.
not to come at them and shame them and saying, you're acting like a little kid.
Yeah.
This is information that I, as the regulated adult, am going to take and say, my expectations and what they're capable of are way off. And
Or
I
right.
need to, instead of saying hurry up and grow, I need to
Yes.
actually adjust my expectations, right?
Yes.
And see them where they're at. That's attunement.
Yes.
And that's one of,
So take that age out and just put them in the framework of where are we at?
absolutely.
Right.
And that's a huge thing for parents, even just to do that, to see
Hmm.
accurately. We call that attunement, to
Yes.
see a person accurately rather
Yes.
than their age or their grades or whatever else we use.
Yes.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with them based on their age that they're demonstrating,
Hmm.
right? And start building capacity that's stage appropriate rather than age appropriate, right?
Okay.
And so one of the biggest things I like to tell families, which is actually, I think it's a great bonus for parents,
Okay.
is to start giving your kid chores.
Mm.
Um, and there's a lot of data and research around, kids that do chores from an early age become much more resilient and successful
Hmm.
human beings, all of the
Hmm.
things being equal. Chores are not typically the most enjoyable thing,
Hmm.
but it's a level of distress that most people can tolerate.
Yes.
They might get grumpy about taking out the garbage,
Yep.
but it's not hopefully going to throw them into a downward spiral or a panic attack.
Right.
And the more we build, like, oh, this uncomfortable thing that I don't really like doing, but I do it a lot, it's like
Hmm.
going to the gym and lifting weights, you know?
Right. It's like I just have to deal with it, but I'm exercising that skill set.
Exactly. The
Yes.
resiliency muscles. Yes.
Yes.
If I go to the gym and I just sit there, I could go to the gym every day, but if I'm not doing anything,
Right.
I'm not going to get any stronger, right?
Right. Yes.
Um, so that's one thing. And I've heard a lot of parents say, oh, I just want my children to have a really easy life.
Mm.
I say, well, your children can have an easy life, and then your teenagers will have a very difficult life.
Yes.
Because when you launch them into the world is not going to treat them with kid gloves. And they're
Yep.
not going to be the most important person in the world,
Yes.
unfortunately, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and we're actually kind of setting them up not to succeed.
Yes. So now is the time when they're at home and they have support, hopefully from parents, caregivers to live in some distress
Hmm.
while they've got that around them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
So that's one small piece. And there's lots of things you can like Google age appropriate chore charts. And you'll find,
Yep.
especially kids, like little kids, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, they want to help you, right?
Yes.
They
Yes.
want to be involved. And usually parents are like, oh, it's too much of a burden.
It's just so much faster if I do it
It's
myself.
so
Or
much faster.
yes.
Again, zoom out. What's the long game here, right? So my 6-year-old, she sorts and takes out the recycling every week.
Hmm.
And my son, he feeds the dog, he takes
Hmm.
out all the garbage, he does his own laundry. He's 10, right?
Yep. Yep.
Initially, when you're building these skills, it is a measure of patience for yourself,
For sure.
right?
Yep.
You need to be regulated and available and ready to do it.
Hmm.
And after 2 or 3 weeks of consistency, this is just what we're doing now. You can create a chore chart to make it
Yep.
visual if you want. Um, it actually takes away some of your burden, right?
Hmm.
Housework.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes. Makes your a little bit of the work at the beginning and then the potential
exactly.
for payoff for time for you too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think, going back to the wilderness, that's why one of the things of the wilderness is so impactful is because chores are just part of being out camping, right? There's
Yeah.
a million chores you need to do, and they're so meaningful. That's the other thing. You got to make it meaningful because if I
Hmm.
don't collect firewood, we're going to be cold,
Right.
right? If I don't make
Yes.
dinner, I'm going to be hungry. So
Yes.
natural consequences. So that's, I would say, the other piece is that there's lots of consequences that kids will encounter
Mhm.
as they make choices and become more autonomous. And as parents, our job is to get out of the way of the natural consequence having an impact, right? So what I
Mhm.
mean by that is that when we see, oh, my kid didn't study for their math test, and then they failed their math test, that's
Mhm.
cause and effect,
Mhm.
right? If I step in and I advocate, oh, well, they didn't have time and just because they were playing Fortnite all day and blah, 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 and can you let them do the test again? Um, then kids aren't learning that my choices have an
Mhm.
impact. They're learning
Mhm.
my choices cue my mom and dad to get
Yeah.
anxious and step in and rescue me from anything uncomfortable.
Yes.
So get out of
Yes.
the way.
Yes. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that is so important. And I think it is so hard,
Hmm.
especially when it's academics, because,
Yeah.
parents, I think sometimes for younger people, like they don't have that perspective of this will matter later.
Yeah.
Right. And, parents can look back and say, like, oh man, I struggled in school. I don't want them to. Or I
Yeah.
know that these grades will have an impact in four
Yeah.
years when they're in grade 12. Or, and to like, oh, consider the risk of a
Yeah.
failing grade or a missed assignment or something is, yeah, it really can be really
Yeah. Just
distressing.
like watching your infant on their
Right.
tummy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
if
going to
no
keep that
one,
analogy in my head yeah, that's a good
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And I'd say, like, yes, we have an academic culture, but there's also, and I just heard the other day that most kids are getting into university with like 95 averages. And I'm like, that's insane, first of all, like to set the bar so high.
I know.
But,
I know.
I who's getting
But anyway.
95? And where's their mental health at? But I would say, when you look at studies of what creates a successful adult,
Mhm.
not necessarily getting into university, but like a successful adult, it's not grades
Yeah.
in high school, right? And it's not the number of universities you got acceptance letters to. It's your
Mhm.
ability to tolerate distress
Mhm.
and to be curious about things. So again, big picture,
Mhm.
yes, I know academics are really important,
Yep.
but
Pan out.
maybe why are they important? Let's look into that a little bit.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Amanda, you're gonna have to come back.
Okay.
We're gonna have to do like a part 2 through 10 or something. Because
Love it.
this was great. And I would have there's so many questions that I would have. And I know there's more pieces on the model. And so what I'll do for people who are interested, because I know through Pine River, there's lots of available resources out there.
Hmm.
But even, if someone was listening and was thinking, oh, this would be great for my whole team's professional development or something, I know you do that too.
We do that.
So
Yeah.
we can put some contact information on there too if people are like, I just need more now. Because
Yes.
hopefully they're listening to this and thinking, now I need more. I need all of
Yes.
it.
I
Well,
hope so
yes.
too. And
Yes.
just a little plug to say, because our program is funded, a
Mhm.
lot of our outreach and educational pieces are also funded, meaning, if you fill out a survey, that's considered payment for us.
Yeah, even better.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, I hope you're prepared now for
Okay.
requests for for trainings and information.
Yes.
Yes. And okay, so there's this piece that we talked about, but then also just for you, um, because you sort of explored different pathways to get where you did and did have that hospital experience,
Hmm.
which those programs still operate and have their place. And
Absolutely.
but sort of, even when you were at Pine Riverside, you kind of were like, hey, but what about like this?
Mhm.
Um, what do you think? And I see that as that exception seeking idea, right? Looking beyond this is just kind of how things are and like how else can we do things or what else is out there?
Yeah.
Um, what do you think gave you that perspective or confidence to be someone who looks outside of how things are done or says, you know what, I'm going to try it. A
Hmm.
little different, but I'm going to try it.
Hmm. I know exactly what did it.
Okay.
And I'm hoping my parents will never listen to this, so it's okay that I say this. I had a very difficult childhood. I had a
Hmm.
very, very challenging childhood.
Okay.
And I was, I think, good enough, quote unquote, that I didn't get a lot of guidance
Mm.
from my family. They were really busy with their own things going on, like divorce, illness,
Okay.
moving, lots of stuff. So I didn't get a lot of attunement from my
Mm.
parents. And what that meant was, at the time I was like, well, this is just normal, right? This is childhood and I'm growing up. And
Mhm.
around the time I turned 16, I was like, oh, things were really bad. And
Mm.
I should probably not be very functional. Like I should not be okay, but I am, and I don't know why.
Yes.
And I always had this curiosity of like, well, why am I not a drug addict? Why am I not okay? All these things would say that I should be,
Yes.
not doing very well.
Yes.
Um, but I think what happened is that because I didn't have like a traditional family system, I was always kind of exposed to non-traditional ideas.
Mm.
And because my parents didn't have like this huge hold on me as like, oh, mom and dad are the best, I was always looking to other people to say like, well, what's your take on the world? Right? What path
Ah,
are you traveling?
interesting. Yeah.
Right? Because I know I don't want to do what they did,
Right.
but I don't have a roadmap for what to do. So I'm just going to go out there and see, you know,
Hmm.
what else do we have?
Right.
And I think in a way it kind of created a bit of a freedom for me
Mm.
where, you don't have to do things the way that they've always been done, especially if
Mhm.
the way they've always been done is not working.
Mhm.
Like, just who cares? Go and try something else. So
Yes.
that's resiliency, I think. And I like was lucky in my just unfortunate to have built a lot of resiliency. But it's not
Yes.
because my life was easy and my parents were like, "Are you happy?" Like
Right.
they didn't
Yes.
care. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, resiliency, and I hear under that too, like a lot of curiosity of
Yeah.
experience and what's out there and asking questions and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a little
Okay.
bit of it. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. I like it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing what you did and doing what you do because I have always held the Pine River program in very high regard, and I think I think it's a very impactful program, and it's cool that it's in Ontario and nearby. So
Yes, I agree. It's very
yeah.
unique and it's not easy, but again, we're not trying to make things super easy all the time. We gotta
Hmm.
challenge kids to grow.
Yes, and manage our own distress in that growth.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining, and we will do this again
Amazing.
for
Thank you so
sure.
much, Colleen.
Thanks for listening to Exception Seekers. Tune in again as we continue to seek overlooked stories that offer new perspectives, disrupt limiting beliefs, and inspire transformative approaches to nurturing youth mental health.
This podcast was produced by North Star Networks, the guiding light for progressive media.